Hey everyone, it's Paige. We're back for another YouTube video today. A little bit different than my normal course vlogs that I've been doing. First off, I want to say thank you so much for all of your positive comments and feedback. I feel like I'm getting better at them. They've been really fun to make, especially the kawaii vlogs that I was doing. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, leaving comments, and engaging. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos coming up, which I release every Thursday. So a while ago, not actually that long ago, a little bit ago, I posted on my story that I was dealing with anxiety, and I got a lot of really awesome responses from people who have also, well, I mean, not awesome, but the fact that they were like open enough to share with me was awesome. But they were talking about that they've been dealing with anxiety as well, and that they wanted me to talk about it a little bit more. So that's what this video is going to be about, kind of my like mental health journey. And I'm gonna try to be very like factual about it and not emotional like I have been in past videos when I've talked about it. I have just always struggled with anxiety, and so these are just some helpful tips that have kind of improved my mental health and kind of gets me through day-to-day life. So here it is. We're gonna just get into it. If you are ever struggling, reach out to people who can help you. I'll put a helpline down below if you're struggling with depression, but I think it's important to know that like everyone struggles with it, and that doesn't diminish the fact that it's a serious problem and that you're dealing with it as well. But it's more just that like, hey, we can get through this together. It's okay. We can do this. And I like to use social media in a very positive way. So let's be a positive community and have a really productive conversation about mental health and anxiety and depression and everything that comes with it. So that's what this video is going to be on. And I know it's a little bit different. So next week we'll get back to golf. But I thought it was really important to address this and talk about this, and especially since I have experience with it. So we will begin. I first off want to say that I live a very privileged and blessed life, and I realize that, and I know that, and I think a lot of times when I come out and I talk about my anxiety and my depression, that people say that I shouldn't feel this way because I do live a very blessed life, and this is just something that like I can't control. And I always tell people, if you've never struggled with anxiety, you don't really know what it feels like or how kind of terrible it can really be. And for me, it's just, I've always had it. Like ever since I can remember, I've just always been like a very anxious person. And I think I get from my mom, and my sister's also very anxious as well. And it just kind of runs in our family. We're very high strung, we're perfectionists, and we're just anxious. And I'll kind of describe the feeling of what it is. For me, I'm sure it's different for everyone else, but when I get anxiety, it could be out of nowhere, honestly. Like I could be having the best time ever and surrounded by friends and family and feeling great, and all of a sudden I just get like this sense of like overwhelmed, like I can't breathe. I get really anxious, like shaky. I get nervous. My mind starts going like a mile a minute. It's just like a very horrible feeling because you feel out of control, and it's not something like you can just fix it. I mean, there's things you can do to help it, but it's not like an automatic fix where it's like, okay, I feel better now. It's definitely not like that. It's something that like, it's hard. It's really hard, and you just kind of have to fight through it. And same with like, I don't struggle with depression as much as I used to when I was in college, and I will share that story at some point as well. But they're a little bit different for me, at least. So now mostly my life, I just always have anxiety. I have seen people for it, and the best way they described it is that I almost like hyper focus, and so like I'm fine, and all of a sudden like in the back of my brain, this is how the doctor described it, is that it almost turns into like spaghetti, and all of a sudden everything gets twisted and wrapped up together, and then that's when I crack basically. And you can probably tell from like previous videos or experiences that I've had that I am more of an emotional person, and they say that like when when the spaghetti gets twisted up in my head, that's kind of when I cry or like have a release, and that's when my anxiety kind of kicks up a little bit. So I've always had this ever since I was like a little kid. I mean, my parents have like kind of always worried about me because I always had like health problems and also my anxiety as well. I was very shy when I was younger. I'm still very shy, introverted. I have a job that requires me to constantly be out of my comfort zone since I am an introvert, which also then kicks up my anxiety a little bit more. So it's definitely difficult. It's really hard. I don't know what it feels like to not have anxiety or to not be anxious, and it could be anything. Like really honestly could be anything that could like set off my anxiety. When it gets really bad, then I get panic attacks. So a panic attack for me, what usually happens is that I just get completely overwhelmed again. It's just anxiety at like the highest form. So I can't breathe, I am crying, I can't really move. So usually I'll just kind of like lay down, get it out of my system, and then I can kind of move on. But it's difficult to deal with. Sorry, I'm not getting emotional. I just choked on my own spit. But no, it's hard for me to explain because I don't really understand it as well as I would like to myself. And I can feel the sensation coming on now since I have dealt with it for such a long time. And I kind of know like my breathing exercises that I do, which I can show you, or there's certain things that I can do in my life to make me feel better. But it's this uneasy feeling all the time, not knowing when it's going to happen, how bad it's going to be, and why it's happening. And I know a lot of people struggle with this, and I know it's like a really big problem, and I feel for you. Like I really feel for you. It's really hard, it's scary, you feel out of control, and it's not fun. And I think we need to talk about it more. There shouldn't be a stigma attached to people who struggle with mental health because, I mean, like I said, I have a very blessed life. I feel like I'm a pretty well-adjusted person. I have my head on straight. Yeah, I still struggle with anxiety. It'd be nice if like maybe in school early on, like we had, I don't know, like therapy sessions or something, like where you were like required to go see someone or talk about things or be more open. And I think we're just so used to like not talking about our problems or not talking about how we feel, because if you do talk about struggling with mental health, you're seen as being weak. And something that I have always dealt with since I am an ambassador for Cyber Smile, which is an anti-bullying organization, and I had that press conference in Dubai where I did break down. A lot of the comments that I get are that I am weak, I am unstable. Just because I do suffer from anxiety or depression doesn't mean that I'm a weak person or I can't like handle things. I just handle them in a little different way. If someone comes out and talks about it, that they're not a weak person or there's not something wrong with them at all. I think it's actually the opposite. I think they're really brave and strong to come out and talk about these things because I think a lot more people are dealing with it than not dealing with it. So I just would like the stigma to not be attached with mental health anymore. So a couple of helpful tips that I've kind of learned along the way. These are tips that I've learned from sports psychologists that I've worked with or doctors. So these are things that I've just kind of picked up on along the way that have worked for me, and hopefully they can work for you. Breathing techniques. So if I'm feeling very anxious, I breathe through my belly. So one thing I do is I'll put my hand right here. And I'll try to breathe through my belly instead of like going like with my shoulders. That actually puts more tension. So with the breathing, I usually 5 seconds out, 5 seconds in. And I'll do that until I feel like I feel better. That's usually something I do when I'm having a more severe panic attack, is just focusing on my breathing, because when I'm going through something like that, I get the really short breaths and it makes things worse, especially if you're crying. You're losing breath every time. So I really try to focus on my breathing. Also, when I'm having like a really bad panic attack and if there's someone around me, I just have them hug me. It sounds silly, but sometimes just having like that, like someone else, like feeling secure almost, that really helps a lot too. So if you're like having a really, really bad panic attack, breathing and then like human touch seems to really help me. So now we're going to talk about lifestyle changes that have actually really improved my mental health and also my anxiety. So working out. I love working out, but a reason that I work out as much as I do is because it's a release for me. You get those happy endorphins. Sorry, we all know that I can't talk after my trajectory incident in the last video. But those happy like endorphins in your body, and you just feel good about yourself. You feel like you've accomplished something. It's good to get out of the house. You're working up a sweat, and that is something that I really like to do, even if it's just like a 20-minute walk, 10-minute walk. I think just doing anything to like get up, get out, move your body around, maybe get some fresh air. That's a really big thing. Another thing is what you eat. So I really try not to eat a lot of processed sugars. I know when I tend to eat more sugar, I get more anxious. And so I try to really cut that out and try to eat as healthy as absolutely possible. So that's another thing. So if your diet is not really that great and you're feeling anxious, maybe eat a little bit better and cut some of the processed sugar out, and maybe that will actually make a big difference for you. In college, that's when my anxiety was absolute worst. My depression was at an all-time high, and I wasn't working out as much as I would like to. I was drinking a lot, I was going out a lot, and I wasn't eating well. And so when I started to eat really well, I started to feel better. And then it goes to another thing, is I cut all alcohol out of my diet. So I do not consume any alcohol anymore, not because I felt like I had a drinking problem per se, but just because I never felt happy. I would drink, and yeah, like if I was intoxicated, I felt good for a little bit. But I would normally cry after I would drink, or the next day I just felt really depressed. So I don't drink anymore. Sometimes we'll have an occasional beer or here and there, but I don't go out anymore. I don't remember the last time I was drunk or even tipsy at all. Probably in college was probably the last time. I think a lot of my anxiety came from like bad decisions I made too, and bad decisions came from drinking alcohol. So it was either like I texted someone I didn't want to, or they weren't like life-changing bad decisions, but they were things that didn't make me feel good about myself. Never feel pressured to do it either. I mean, I think now it's really hard. I feel like sometimes like I don't do as well in like social situations, especially like when it comes to business, because a lot of times like business is done, when they're out and drinking and having a good time together, and I always decline that offer. And so I think a lot of people think that I'm like very antisocial, and yeah, I guess I am a little bit because I am introverted. But I just don't like being put in situations that like I feel uncomfortable with. You want people to think that you're fun and outgoing and all this stuff, but if you don't like want to do it, then don't do it. And if they're pressuring you to do it, then they're probably not people you want in your life anyway. Be above the peer pressure on that one. What else? That's another thing. Be surrounded by your friends and your family. When I'm having anxiety, I tend to want to not do anything and stay in my room and not talk to anyone. But actually the best thing to do is go out and be with your friends and people who love you. What comes with that though is eliminating people in your life who are toxic. So don't be around people who put you down. Don't be around people who are mean to you. Don't be around people who are jealous or, that are not supportive friends of yours. So cut those people out of your life. You have no time for them anymore. That leads me to the next thing. One thing I like to do is smile. It sounds super stupid, but I think you need time to kind of be in your feels. And if you're having anxiety, cry a little bit, but don't feel sorry for yourself for a long period of time, because it's just going to make it worse. You can always change your mood. So just a smile or a laugh or doing something to try to make you a little bit happier is going to make a big difference. So either watch a funny movie or just seriously stare at yourself in front of the mirror and smile and do this because it's stupid. Or you can watch this video back and just look at me trying to smile, and hopefully that makes you guys feel better. Yeah, life is really, really hard and it sucks, and we're all going through stuff, but let's try to make the best of it. And so it's just changing your mindset around and know that maybe someone screwed you over and they're a horrible person, but don't let them ruin your life. Or maybe you're having relationship problems or money issues. It really honestly could be anything, and just know that you're allowed to feel bad and you're allowed to feel anxious and you're allowed to feel sorry for yourself, but don't let that ruin everything, because it can turn around really, really fast. You never know what's around the corner. You don't want to be home alone feeling sorry for yourself when you could be out there living a really great life. These are personal tips that have worked for me and things that make me feel better, but find your things that make you feel better. But always keep searching for things that make you feel good about yourself. Don't let anyone put you down. Try to always be positive, and just watch your words on social media as well, because you never know what someone's going through. And a lot of times people can hide their true feelings, and especially on social media, because it's only like 1% of someone's life. So just be careful about that. It doesn't matter if they're a public figure or someone who has 5 followers, like they're still a human being with feelings. So always keep that in mind, and let's be polite. Let's be good people. Let's like try to make a difference in this world, and let's try to be happy, because life is really short and we're really blessed to be doing what we're doing and living pretty good lives. I hope you really enjoyed this video. It was fun for me to talk about and open up. Leave comments down below if you have any questions, or maybe even some helpful tips for anyone else who's struggling with anxiety or depression. So let me know, and if you like these type of videos and me opening up a little bit more, maybe if you want me to share my college stories of when I was really struggling with depression, let me know. I think that's all for today. I just want to say thank you so much for listening. I'll put a link down below if you're struggling. We're all here for you and cheering you on, and I'm cheering you on, and yeah, just keep on trucking along. That's all for today, and I'll see you guys next Thursday.